Hey guys, Coldbrew here. Welcome back to another raid video. We have the Phantom Shogun's cave, grow, whatever it's called. I'm on the test server today. Early morning before heading to the gym, I thought to record a video just before the embargo is out to showcase my team for farming this specific dungeon, right? It's the new one. It's a difficult one. Not many people are actually going to do it. The reason is when you upgrade accessories, it's again a random chance on what kind of stat you're gonna get, and it's not as effective as I would say for the normal gear. When in normal gear from the Sandal Necropolis, at least you can upgrade, let's say, boots and get a ton of speed through that one. For this one, you possibly can get some accuracy and resistance extra, or you can upgrade your crit damage, but that I don't think is as effective as, let's say, upgrading your speed boots to get you that 12 extra speed. So I don't think many people will bother with this, except for maybe the end game players who have nowhere else to go with their gear. That being said, let me show you guys my team. It's a fun one because it does use a rare that I bet many of you guys out there might not even have leveled up, but you're gonna consider leveling it up. If you are familiar with my videos, then you know what I'm gonna be showcasing, or at least have a hint of what rare I will be using. I also tried an uncommon, which you guys obviously know which uncommon I tried. I haven't beaten 25 because of the affinities. All right, the affinities are kind of an issue for me on 25 because I don't have a lot of awakenings, and the team that I'm showcasing doesn't have a lot of awakenings. It does have them because honestly it's almost impossible, and I'll explain the problems with it. But let's first show the team, right? And then we move on forward, right? Let's go. Boom, there it is. There's my team. Double cold heart. We have a Mithrala there where everyone can get her. The cold hearts really are there because I have them awakened, and it's a cheap awakening. It's the cheapest awakening you will have on your account. How random will that be? How difficult will it be to get the cold hearts? Well, it's of course a lot of time spent checking out the market and seeing if you can get upgrades to their souls, but once you do, it helps a lot because awakenings help drop the meter of what's called chaos, shade meter down. Helps drop it down, right? So have that in mind. Gnarlhorn, coldbrew, what the hell are you doing? Let me show you guys. When a champion receives enfeeble, one of the debuffs from the boss, they cannot land a normal hit anymore. They will always be landing weak hits, and they will be targeted by the boss. This happens to the target with the highest crit damage at the start of the fight. The boss on 24 and 25 has somewhere around 350 speed. So you will never build a champion as fast as that to go before and do something, right? Maybe a speed booster, but other than that, probably the boss will start the turn and apply the enfeeble. So you bring in Gnarlhorn. He will be your crit damage tank. You just give him crit damage. You don't care about him actually doing damage. Crit damage with high defensive stats. Makes no sense, but for this one, he'll do his job, right? Let's carry on. This is where Gnarlhorn shines. Look at this. Attacks for an enemy, blah, blah, blah. This attack cannot be strong, critical, or weak hit. There we go. There we go. This helps you not take the shade stacks even higher when Gnarlhorn will be eventually attacking. So any tank champion that you want to have ideally will be someone that will not be landing a lot of multi-hits, because multi-hits increase the shade counter per hit, is what I found sometimes. I think it's a little bit bugged, honestly. I want to see on the majority of players playing the content to see if there's more bugs, because I found sometimes they're buggy, sometimes they're not. I need to record them and send them to Plarium, so that's gonna take a lot more time than honestly we had 2 days to practice not only this one and the new champion, which I'm also showcasing in the team, by the way. So anyway, cannot do weak hits, and he also has an unkillable on himself. Yeah, but coldbrew, unkillable, the boss ignores it at 20 shade stacks. Well, that's where the awakenings come into play from cold heart, because that helps reduce the shade counter lower. And the good thing about this team is that it doesn't have crazy amounts of awakenings, but a 6-star awakening, it's still a 6-star awakening. It's not easy to get it, I know, but it is what it is. And we are also showcasing the new champion Gnut here. Insane A3. If this is not a video that makes you want to get this champion, I don't know which video is, because this is crazy good. Does a lot of damage, and it's not a passive, because this boss disables passives. And guess which champion needs her passive to work? Acrizia. I found out the hard way when I realized that Acrizia is basically neutered here, and she's basically worse than Narhorn here. And then with Tralla, we basically have her for the cleanse and the extra accuracy, because you need about 550 accuracy to land anything on this boss. So let's go in there. Sometimes it fails. I think the turn meter is kind of an issue. Once, you know, the big minds, the people who do the calculators actually start playing it, they'll realize that once you have an enfeeble tank, the turn meter boost only happens here with the 20%. It will not always be, because it's hitting every target. The problem is sometimes the boss, I've noticed, it hits 2 targets when only 1 enfeeble is out. So I think that's a bug. I need to record more runs so I can send over to Plarium to showcase as a bug. I only had 2 days to play this, and I'm not a tester, right? I'm supposed to be the one who makes content on it. So I'm not the one who's looking for bugs. I'm just here to make content showcasing the new stuff. Anyway, let's carry on. You see the enfeeble is out there. On Narhorn is not spread. It will not be spread. No, actually will be spread, but we'll cleanse it out. You cannot place a high resistance champion in there. Not only because I think the boss's accuracy is insanely high. His speed is 350. All right, 350 speed on the boss. I think the boss, because this is a protected debuff, it can transfer it regardless. It doesn't transfer a protected enfeeble, but it still spreads out an enfeeble. And because it's a protected one, he doesn't need accuracy to do it. So I've tried with 750 resistance, and it wasn't enough. So I don't know how you can push higher than that without having basically 0 stats and also high crit damage. So yeah, let's carry on. Gnut here is like MVP. Look at that, triple, you know, max HP damage. He's not even maxed out in terms of gear. But there's the enfeeble. We did have an enfeeble hit there, so it raises it up by 8 because the cold heart is doing a weak hit, but it's fine still because she has the 6-star awakening, so it lowers it by 6 again. So here we cleanse, that increases it up by 2 per champion cleansed. So this is basically the run, and the times I could clear it with were like a minute 25. So a solid team. So here you can see that one of the cold hearts got a hit. I don't know why that happens. She is not supposed to take a hit, because the boss, once there's an enfeeble target, will always prioritize enfeeble targets and will never attack anybody else, right? Because it says it prioritizes, right? So there's no AoE attack unless there's enfeeble. So I'm not sure what is happening right there, and it only hits that cold heart, nobody else. I have no idea what happens. So that's one of the bugs I noticed. There's the enfeeble again. Hopefully we get the cleanse going. There it is. Okay. There's the cold heart. There's the cold heart. Hopefully we get some damage from my boy Gnut there. Okay. And that's the run. And as I said, my fastest time is like 55 seconds with this team. Obviously when I'm not talking and going, but you saw the bug there in action. When that happens, if that happens, it really limits your damage. And this is like a very good reason for Gnut to be a part of your team, because he does a triple hitting attack and he is good affinity against this one, and there's not really many enemy max HP champions that you can use. So here we got a refresh actually with Gnut, so I wonder if we can get like a crazy fast run. The poisons and the brimstone really helps extra turn. He's gonna get his A3, isn't he? No? Okay, that is weird. 40 seconds, come on, unkillable Narhorn with the insane strategies here. So yeah, you get an enfeeble tank that can apply an unkillable on himself if you have Narhorn or something. Look at that, 54 seconds, best time. All right, that's cool. Narhorn is what makes the team work and survive, because he can take a lot of hits, and this allows you to put in a lot of damage dealers. You have Mithrala for the cleanser. It's a 3-turn cooldown cleanser that can also apply increased defense and increased attack. Increased attack doesn't really help anybody, not even the cold hearts really. Gnut is a defensive based damage dealer, so I guess that helps a little bit, but mostly enemy max HP, right? And Narhorn does 0 damage there. Gnut is the MVP here. So will you be able to make this team first day? Obviously not, but guys, I did try it out with Armiger, as you guys know, or you can replace, instead of Gnut, you can use any kind of other damage dealer. It will still work, but you need to make sure that there's no Terrameter overlap there. If you have Septimus, he also does enemy max HP. I didn't have him, so I couldn't showcase him here. So he also does a lot of damage, so you can make a team with him instead of the cold hearts. Also, the Terrameter reduction is not there, so the cold hearts aren't really doing anything. I tried with Royal Guard. For some reason, the boss was just not, it did not want Royal Guard in there. I'm not sure what was happening in there. Probably can't do Husk. The other big problem is on 25 is I found it doesn't really work, because Narhorn cannot tank those first hit at the start without the unkillable. It's very difficult for him because he is weak affinity, so he's getting strong hits on him, which I believe do 20% more damage if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, let's carry on and I'll show you guys the gear on Gnut. Gnut here is with Relentless, obviously 258, 223, so a very low crit damage. I just threw some gear with enough accuracy here for other content, which I was making a video earlier, and then 3.8k defense. This can go higher, so all of these stats, there's room to go up, and obviously Giant Slayer for extra bit of damage. Okay, so this is like the standard page for Gnut, but let's carry on to the actual MVP of the fight, Narhorn. As you saw, I have War Master. The reason for this is I was finding a few bugs in the game. I thought he needs a little bit of healing for that extra targeting to not happen. You guys saw it in action. It did happen, so doesn't really need War Master. You can go extra defense, you can go 0 masteries, but I wouldn't say so. You can go Elixir of Life. Doesn't really matter because he'll get to 1% health anyway. But he does need the crit damage. So depending on what kind of damage dealers you have, my cold hearts are like a 281, so I made him 297 in there. And his defensive stat, 60,000 health, 2,400 defense. Not a lot, but it's not easy to get a lot. And 209 speed, right? It's not easy to get a lot when you're putting him with crit damage gear. The cold hearts, pretty much the same. One of them has the lethal set, not that it really matters, and she is fast. 283, 256. Okay, no accuracy because we're doing content that doesn't reduce Terrameter. And then the other one, I think is much slower. 244, yeah, 281, 356. I think I use her in Doom Tower, maybe. And then masteries, it's pretty much the same on both. Yeah, I have War Master, I think, on this one, because it's the highest chance, higher chance to inflict it because of the A3, the Heart Seeker. You don't obviously need War Master. You can go Flawless Execution and Helm Smasher if you want to. I would advise Flawless Execution over anything if your Cold Heart is weaker. But if you're farming this dungeon, you don't really care about masteries and stuff. And then finally, Mithrala is the cleanser. She's at a 280 speed, I believe. Depending on where you're going to be using her. War Master helps. I did not give her any of the masteries that give her extra turn meter, because you need to speed tune the cleanser, right? So that's what I was playing with. But as you know, there's sometimes these bugs that might happen when you do your runs. So you'll see it in action once this is out. I started with the bolster set that helps Narhorn a little bit, and 507 accuracy. Even with her in the lead, sometimes she gets resistance. So I think the boss needs like 600 accuracy to actually land stuff, which is nuts, especially with how everything else is in the game. So this is the team, guys, in terms of stats. In terms of the team AI setup, I have Mithrala starting out with the A2. Nobody else really with any special AI. Gnarlhorn starting out with his A2. He does get the increased defense, but he gets a stronger one from Mithrala. This is just so that he doesn't use his unkillable immediately. Basically delays the unkillable use by 1 turn. You can have him start with the A1 instead if you want to, but this one also makes him to not attack if you don't want him to attack. It's faster animations. Anyway, yeah, he does the A2 and then the A3 happens. He will not be able to apply this consistently. It's not like Paragon. This is a 2-turn with a 3-turn cooldown. If you have refresh accessories, maybe. I was thinking about the team using Painkeeper here instead of the damage dealer to reduce cooldowns, but it makes it much trickier to speed tune. So for me personally, with only like really realistically 1 day of practice in this dungeon, I think this team is okay. You can farm 24 with it. The reason that I don't do 25 with this one is because Gnut is weak affinity, so a third of the time he'll hit and raise up the enfeeble. All right, so I'll show you guys before we close it off. So yeah, and look at how much higher the damage Gnarlhorn receives here, like 50k. So it's quite high. So there are the weak hits, which are very nasty. So the A2 there, like I could make him start out with the A3 even. Maybe that can work, but my team doesn't have, I don't believe, doesn't have the damage to do it in just the 2 turns that Gnarlhorn will be taking turns. Of course, you can build him much. So here, this wasn't a crit on him, so he didn't reduce to 1% immediately. So there's the unkillable. Get the cold heart doing her thing. That was on the weak boss. Look at that weak hit again. So that really doesn't help when you do the weak hits. Of course, I could replace Gnut with other damage dealers and try this out, but just farm 24 guys for now. Once you get Gnut, it makes Gnarlhorn much easier for this one. This was the video, guys. I'll be practicing more. I might stream it also today once I get back from the gym and the embargo is over. I might just open up a stream and do it over on YouTube. That was it. Thank you all. Subscribe on the test server, obviously. So that's why I've got 1 million gems. There's probably bugs on the boss. We'll see. Thank you all. I'll see you in the next one. See ya.